فيا أيها القاري به متمسكا مجلا له في كل حال مبجلا.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to the Tajweed podcast. This is the video number 15 regarding the makharij al-huruf, the points of articulations. We have spoken last time and we have talked about the letter Sad, and we have said that there are three letters that combine one quality and one attribute called as-safir, which is the whistling, but the meaning of whistling here is the flowing of the air in the same time making that sound and whistle. So you would say as or as or s. So that sound is called sifatu, the attribute or the quality of as-safir. Today we are going to talk about the zay and the sin. Pardon me. The zay, you could say also, many brothers and sisters and Muslims ask, is that letter zay or letter zain or letter za? So in Arabic language, probably you would say the best to say is harfu zay, but it is reported in the books of the ulama to say the letter za with a hamza at the end, alif and hamza at the end, and also harfu zay and harfu zain. So as we have learned before a long time when we were young, alif ba ta tha, and they say ra zain. You could say zain, you could say zay, zay, ra, zay, or zain. So both of them are correct. Letter sin and zay, they also have the same quality of attribute, which is the as-safir. But the difference between the zay and sin and the letter sad, which we have seen previously, that the sad has the quality of power, the quality, it doesn't have any weakness. It is a letter that is very powerful. It has al-itbaq, as we have mentioned. It has the upper part of the sides of the tongue. These sides will move up to the roof of the mouth. So it has the quality of isti'la and full mouth, and the quality of at-tafkhim, which, as you can see, it's a heavy letter. But the opposite of the zay and the sin, both of them are istifal. Both of them are empty mouth. Both of them do not use the sides of the tongue to go up of the roof, but they use only the tip of the tongue at the lower incisive. So if we look at the lower incisive in the drawing here, this part here, the tongue remains on this part only, as you can see. So it doesn't touch, but remains steady, straight, and say as. So as it has the flowing of the air, the zay does not have the flowing of the air. And if you say as, and you put your hands just close to your lips and close to your mouth, and you find that the air is going as. But for the zain, it does not have that flowing of the air. It is harf majhur, it is not mahmus. And all these names and techniques and technical words of hems and attributes and sifat and equality, we're going to see later on when we finish with the makharij. So we are talking about the difference between the harf zay and harf sin, that it has jahr and one has hems. So the letters of the hems, فَحَثَّهُ شَخْصٌ سَكَتْ, the flowing of the air. So the air will flow more than the letter of the zain or the zay. The letter of the zay, it does not have the flowing of the air, but the sound within itself sounds that letter as. So let us see on the next slides, inshallah, the common mistakes of the letter sin and the common mistakes of the letter z. So in this slideshow, we are going to have a look at the common mistakes when sounding the letter of makhraj al-lisan. Makharij al-lisan, one of them is the letter sin. So when we say al-masjid, so you're saying the scene is you're bringing your teeth together and the tongue is straight forward, not going up, and it's in an empty state, and the air is flowing. So you would say al-masjid, al-masjid, masjid. Of course, without insisting and going exaggeration of the scene like some people do, but just to explain what is a safir and what is the hams. Al-masjid, and not to change it, of course, into zay, as some people do. Al-masjid, al-masjid, and not al-masjid, it's al-masjid. The other example I would like to point here as well is to watch that in this example that there are two mufakham letters. For example, the qaf and the ta. Both of them are mufakham, both of them are heavy letter, and the sin is in between. So instead of saying tuqasitu, so watch, tuqasi. So as we say, that tongue, tip of the tongue should be closer to the lower incisive, straight, and the air is flowing, and bring back your tongue to go to the upper of the mouth to saying tu, tuqasitu, situ, and practicing by saying si, tu, tuqasitu. Same as there is a word in the Quran, al-qist, al-asbat. So not to make the sin mufakham as a heavy letter. The example in the next one also the same thing. Wasata, and not wasata, wasata. Of course, when I say making tarqiq and making istifal of the sin, not to make it imala or taqlil by saying wasa, wasata. Here also the example of sultan is to be careful not to make the lam and the sin mufakham sultan. Like some would say, I hear some of my students saying subhanallah, it's subhanallah. It is not sub, it's subhanallah. The other example is the sad and the sin, they're not far away from each other, so be careful when pronouncing the sin and be careful when pronouncing the sad. So instead of saying sa'asrif or sa'asrif, it makes a difference by changing even the meaning. Sa'asrifu, sa'asri, asri, sa'asrifu. And the next one is ar-rasul, like many people would say ar-rasul, as I said the example by mistake. Ar-rasul, not ar-rasul. So the ra is mufakham, as you can see, but the sin is muraqqaq. So you would say war-rasul. Let's see the other examples of the common mistakes in the letter of. Same in this example as well, as we have spoken that the zayn is coming close to the letter qaf, which is mufakham, letter ra, which is mufakham. So you would say, you don't say raza, za, razaqnahum, wazarabiyyu mabthutha. So zayn and letter zay is close to the ra. Zay also here is close to the kha. The kha is mufakham, ra is mufakham, but the zay is muraqqaq. زخرف القول, زخرف القول غرورا. ببضاعة مزجاه, not musjah, changing the zay into the sin or into the sad. Ar-rijz. So in the Quran there would be a word called ar-rijz and a word called ar-rijz. Both meanings have the same meanings in the Quran in most of the cases. It is a language, it is a dialect in Arabic language to say ar-rijz and to say ar-rijz. Same as to change the letter sad into zayn is called al-ishmam for Khalad and for Khalaf. Khalaf in most of the cases in all the Quran changes the sad into the letter sin, but this not the case for riwayat Hafs an Asim. It is to make, it's a tradition of the Arab, it's a language of the Arab, a dialect of the Arab, to say zay into sin or sin into sad, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ instead of وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. So even in our country there is a tribe and a village called Lamsila in Algeria. They would say also Zdaq. Zdaq means he said the truth, which means Sadaq. Sadaq, so you say Zdaq. Sadaq. So changing that sad hasn't its origins in Arabic language. In the language of Quraysh, as we can see in all the Quran, in all of the Quran, in Riwayat Hafs an Asim, it's written with the sad. You would say Sirata, and you wouldn't say in Riwayat Hafs Zirata. اهدنا الصراط or صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم, though they have the same meaning and they close in the language. But here in the Quran, in Riwayat Hafs an Asim, so we have to be careful not to change in rijz into rijz in its place. And when it comes in its place, a rijz, we should pronounce it a rijz and not a rijz with a zay. Same as fa'azzazna, when it is double the letter zay twice or three times, then we have to be careful to pronounce the letter properly. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. That's in riwayat Hafs an Asim. جزاكم الله خيرا for listening. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
هنيئا مريئا والداك عليهما ملابس أنوار من التاج والحلى.